On Overdrive today, we bring you a closer look at the latest entrants in the 400cc motorcycle space from Harley-Davidson and the Bajaj-Triumph partnership. We also take a look at the Maruti Suzuki Invicto and the updated Kia Seltos. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Sunita. We've got a super packed show for you today, coming from a very busy week of launches and unveils. Starting off with Harley-Davidson's most talked about affordable motorcycle coming in the 400cc market space, the Harley-Davidson X440. Now this motorcycle has been built in collaboration with Hero MotoCorp, and let's find out why everybody has been talking about it.
Harley-Davidson has just turned the page onto a new chapter in its 120-year-old history with this new ground-up motorcycle. This is the new Harley-Davidson X440. Yes, it is the motorcycle that has just launched at a starting price of 2,29,000 rupees. There are 3 models on offer. This effectively is the most affordable Harley-Davidson India has ever seen. Now, what is this motorcycle all about? We have a limited time to check it out. So without wasting any more time, let's get right to it.
Beginning with the X440's design. Now first up, this bike is designed to be your entry-level everyday roadster, a slightly above average one at that. Now I know looks are subjective and the front of this motorcycle does look beefy with the LED lights. Oh yeah, they're at both ends. Then there's the chunky wheels, the wide handlebar that gives it this nice brawny shoulders kind of thing. And then you have the nice big 13.5 litre tank, all a visual delight. Like the tank, all 3 trim variants get metal body panels and fenders too. But on all 3 variants, there's no shying away from that rear section, which is sure to make more than a few babies cry at the mere sight of its design. And then there's that colossal exhaust can, which is a sight. It has hints of Hero commuter motorcycle written all over it. But Harley say that that last exhaust bit was a bit of a compromise in order to attain the HD-esque thump, which honestly doesn't sound anywhere close to the unmistakable thump of any of the company's twins in the modern past. Overall, levels of fit and finish are commendable by Hero standards, because let's face it, there currently isn't a motorcycle of this quality that has ever rolled off a Hero production line. But it still manages to fall short to something compared to the Royal Enfield Classic 350. Features wise, you get a pretty decent amount of standard kit on all 3 X440 variants, like the auto headlamp illumination, the all LED lighting. Then there's that nicely laid out 3.5-inch TFT screen, dual channel ABS, and the conveniently located USB port as standard too. What separates the top end model from the other 2 variants below it are its Bluetooth or app connectivity features and a couple of more screen options like turn-by-turn navigation, the 3D tank badging, the alloy wheels, the bronze coated finish on the engine. And mechanically, all 3 variants of the X440 are identical. And that's the best part.
First thing, right off the bat, what impressed me the most was obviously that single cylinder 440cc air and oil cooled engine, 27 PS of max power, around 38 Nm of max torque, really spread out nicely along the 6 cogs that you have to work with. And the chassis, the whole dynamics, the package, well, as a whole, it really falls into place really well. If you're riding slow, it's quite comfortable. If you want to give it a gas, get on the throttle quite hard, well, this motorcycle manages it very well.
There's a good amount of torque low down the band, which is great for city riding because, well, you won't be shifting gears ever so often. And out at highway speeds, what got me was this motorcycle's level of refinement and composure. Around 100 kmph in 6 at 4000 rpm, well, it just felt flawless, with minimal vibrations. But then again, vibes slowly began to creep in north of that mark. But it never felt overly intrusive, matter-of-factly, and the sheer willingness of this motorcycle not only to push to the 6500 rpm redline, but also to execute any maneuver that you have in mind while carrying a good amount of speed is simply commendable to say the least. Here, I got to test the new Harley out on Hero's high-speed and technical circuits out at the company's Center of Innovation and Technology in Rajasthan. And the X440 surprisingly proved highly impressive on both tracks. The Harley-Davidson X440 features a new tubular stream perimeter frame, a chunky 43mm upside-down KYB fork up front, and preload adjustable dual shocks at the rear. And Hero has done a fantastic job of not only keeping the bike's balance in check, but also its curb weight down to 190.5 kgs, and that's awesome when you consider all the metal bits over this machine. Handling is neutral and quite easy to get used to, but the way the suspension sinks in, there's MRF rubber, well, that really claws down in the corners. Well, let's just say that you will have fun and excitement definitely awaiting you as soon as you swing a leg over and you're ready to push the limits on this one.
Now the riding position, this motorcycle will make you assume, well, as you can see, quite comfortable, because for a roadster, as you would expect, nice flat wide handlebar, quite comfortable on the go. The nice 13-litre tank fits snug between your legs. The foot peg position also is quite relaxing, and it feels like a motorcycle that you can ride every day. So very comfortable motorcycle all throughout. And out here, well, on the slow speed tracks as well as the high speed tracks, I really like the performance of the front. That 43mm KYB dual cartridge fork up front held up really nicely, including the brakes. Well, the dual channel ABS standard on all three models, and the tires as well. Man, these MRFs really held up really nicely, no matter what the speed was, taking into corners. The handling dynamics of this motorcycle, well, let's put it this way. If you like scraping your foot pegs, well, you will really have a ball in this one, because it really allows you to really go for it. And the way it's set up with the wheels, the brakes, the tires, man, it's really good, and you will have a real good time on this motorcycle.
All in all, the Harley X440 came across as more than just a pleasant surprise. But there's one undeniable fact that stands true with this motorcycle. If you hide away all those Harley-Davidson badges and heroes part in its production process, well, what remains is still an impressive and fun to ride motorcycle. And the proverbial cherry on top out here, well, the pricing, which basically tells you that if you have the money to buy a KTM 250 Adventure, well, the 4-valve, well, you can now afford a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, which would have sounded absolutely absurd a couple of years ago, but it's now true.
In terms of its packaging, there are some fit and finish levels that will leave you wanting a bit more, and its looks are subjective. But then again, this is a very surprising package, because it is unlike any other Harley-Davidson. It's not what you expect. Once you get astride this motorcycle, whether you like riding fast or slow, you will have a real good time riding this motorcycle at any speeds. And that's what I really appreciate about it. Given this price, it makes a very promising package.
Well, the Harley-Davidson X440 wasn't the only motorcycle to shake up the 400cc motorcycle space earlier this week. Join us after this break as we tell you all about the Triumph Speed 400 and the Scrambler 400X. Welcome back. You're watching Overdrive. It's been 5 years in the making, but the Bajaj-Triumph partnership has resulted in two affordable 400cc motorcycles in the market that everyone seems to be talking about. Rohit has all the details.
People usually buy a Royal Enfield and they aspire to buy a Harley-Davidson or a Triumph. But now Harley-Davidson and Triumph both are downsizing. They're getting smaller vehicles and entering the Royal Enfield space. The X440 is already out, stunning price. Everyone was super excited about it. But now Triumph has entered that space with not one, but two motorcycles, the Speed 400 and the Scrambler 400X. Now the Scrambler comes out a little later. The Speed 400 is going to start delivering later this month. That's the motorcycle I'm going to begin with. That bike, the Speed 400, it looks beautiful. Not just that, it's priced even better. It starts at 2.23 lakh rupees ex-showroom for the first 10,000 units and 2.33 lakh ex-showroom after the 10,001th unit starts delivering. So that's going to be the pricing, and that is a very aggressive price. That is right in the Royal Enfield territory, whereas the specs are in the KTM Duke 390 territory. It is a pretty small motorcycle. But I think, at least visually, it looks bigger to me than something like the Hunter 350. Now, in terms of the hardware, this is where it pips all the Royal Enfield motorcycles, right? Not just Royal Enfield, most of its competition, including the newly launched Harley. So you get these upside-down 43mm forks. You also get these big 320mm, if I'm not wrong, brake rotors. These are mated to bi-brake brakes, radial brakes. You also get a master cylinder that is done by bi-brake. What you get on the India spec model are two options. There is an Apollo and then there is MRF as well. The tire sizes remain the same, but you get these two manufacturers for the Indian market. Now, a lot of you have seen the test mules of this motorcycle and the KTM 390, the new Duke 390 being tested together, but there might be a few shared components, I don't know, in the engines. But in terms of the engine configuration, in terms of the absolute design of the engine, they're very different. Now, this engine puts out 37.5 Newton meters of torque, out of which 30 is dialed in at as low as 3000 RPM. So you're going to get a very strong mid-range from this engine. The top end is going to be decent as well, because this, remember, is the Speed 400. You can see that the subframe is bolted on. It's not welded, which for this price point is a big deal. Having this bolt-on subframe, because God forbid, especially on the Scrambler, if you were to have a fall, if you were to end up bending the subframe, you can just change the subframe. So your repair insurance costs might be a little lesser in that sense. Then you look at the detailing. The tail light has that beautiful Triumph logo right there. The tail light looks nice and detailed, looks very premium, and it's LED. Again, at this price point, at this price point, it makes a lot of difference. Similarly, if you look at the headlight, it has the similar design DNA that we've seen in something like the Bonneville, that arc for the DRLs. You also have the Triumph logo right in the center. So the detailing is as good as what we've seen on the other Triumph Bonnevilles or the other modern retros from Triumph. And then you have this 43mm upside down fork, which has 140 millimeters of travel. You get a monoshock at the rear, which gets 130 millimeters of travel. On the Scrambler, these are going to be longer legs, longer suspension travel. I'm going to come to that in a bit. And finally, if you look at the console here, it's a combination of an analog speedometer and a digital LCD. The bike also comes with traction control and ABS, though I don't think it is switchable. What also looks upmarket is the powder coated finish on the engines, and then the machine finish that you get for these fins right here. But the biggest part, the big deal in my books, is the inclusion of liquid cooling, again at this price point. Let's now shift focus to the Scrambler 400X. So the first thing that's going to be different is the forks. Same 43mm forks, but longer legs. So essentially you get 150 millimeters of suspension travel. Here you get the MRF Zapper Curve F. It's got a slight bit of a block pattern to it, and that is essentially to give you better grip and better endurance on broken roads, sandy, patchy roads, etc. The engine, the specs, the power, the tuning, everything remains exactly the same. The seat is also quite nice. It's got that rip pattern to it to go with that Scrambler theme. And then you also get this stitching, again adding that premium touch. And it's a split seat mechanism. This is again something that I like. You also get this headlight grille or a headlight mesh, and they have nicely cut out a little triangle there for the Triumph logo and for the daytime running lights to be visible. This can also go on the Street 400 if you so wish. The console is going to be similar too, but the handlebar is going to be different. The handlebar is slightly raised. You also get this brace on the handlebar, and even the head angle at the chassis level is slightly more lazy, slightly longer to give it a slightly longer wheelbase. Ground clearance is higher. The seat height is about 35 to 40 millimeters higher, so it is going to be a bit of a perch compared to something like the Street 400. So these are the two motorcycles for you. Let me know what do you think about these bikes. Let me know what do you think about the changes that they've made for India, the different tires, the sari guard, etc. Let me know what do you think about the price more than anything, because I think that price is brilliant.
Well, we for one are very curious to find out just how much of a dent Harley-Davidson's 440X as well as the two Triumph 400 motorcycles will make to Royal Enfield's market share. We'll just have to wait a while to find out the answer to that. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll tell you all about the newly launched Maruti Suzuki Invicto and the updated Kia Seltos. Welcome back. You're watching Overdrive. Maruti Suzuki has launched the Invicto. It's much awaited premium MPV starting at 24.79 lakh rupees for the 7-seater variant, going up to 24.84 lakh rupees for its 8-seater variant. The Invicto shares most of its design language with the Toyota Innova Hi-Cross, given it shares its underpinnings with the Toyota MPV as well. But clear differentiators are the front double-slat next-wave grille with a slightly different mesh and a large chrome strip housing the Maruti Suzuki badge, a different bumper design, and the 3-box tail lamps connected by a chrome bar. With the touch of a button, the electric boot opens up to offer 239 litres of storage space with all the seats up and can be expanded to 690 litres with the third row folded. The Invicto sits on 17-inch alloy wheels, a design that differs from the otherwise identical Hi-Cross, including the overall identical dimension of the SUV. The cabin is well appointed in all black and champagne gold accents and is being offered with a 7 and 8-seater configuration. The SUV offers a 10.1-inch large infotainment that offers wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It also offers over 50 Suzuki Connect features. The Invicto also houses a 7-inch digital instrument cluster, a 360-degree camera, panoramic sunroof with ambient lighting, ventilated front seats, and a lot more. Plenty of cup holders are available for third row passengers, and the 7-seater second row gets foldable tray table with cup holders. There's multi-zone air conditioner control for all passengers as well. In terms of safety, 6 airbags will be standard across the range. You also get ABS electronic stability control and hill start assist. This MPV is powered by a 2-liter petrol engine with strong hybrid powertrain. It is also the very first Maruti Suzuki vehicle being offered with just an automatic transmission, the eCVT. The Invicto produces a combined 186 PS of power and promises to return 23.24 kilometers to the litre. Retailing at the Nexa showroom in 4 color options, customers can also own the Invicto via Maruti Suzuki Subscribe with monthly subscription prices starting from 61,680 rupees.
Kia has reintroduced the Seltos with a new 1.5-litre turbo petrol engine. Here's more.
I'm at the reveal of the new Kia Seltos, and Kia will be introducing this car very soon in the market. Bookings will open up later this month. But what we can see here is, well, significant cosmetic detailing that has been updated. Along with that, a few mechanical changes as well. Quite a striking looking car. Keep that in mind. One of Kia's biggest selling points was the styling, and the Seltos was the first to introduce Kia's design language into the country, and it still looks as impressive. A lot of nice light work out here, except for, of course, the Kia badge is now gone onto the hood, and that leaves a fairly large vacant space right here, highlighted by those graphic elements, the light graphic elements, but it's blank nonetheless. One of the big mechanical changes, one important change is, of course, these 18-inch wheels and tires. Keep in mind, Kia used to offer the 17 inches before, but it's now gone down to 18 inches. The advantages, benefits of that would, of course, be better dynamics and better ride quality as well. Well, I'm going to quickly take you inside the car and show you what the interior is looking like. But the other aspect about Kia's new Seltos is that it introduces ADAS 2.0, which essentially is the advanced driver assistance systems that you've seen on the EV6. Well, of course, the EV6 isn't sold in big numbers, so not everybody has experienced that level, that suite of safety features. But you can now do that in this new Seltos. And I'll take you through all of those features. What does that have to offer you? What all can it protect you from? But apart from the ADAS systems, well, there's a whole lot of active and passive safety features on board as well that should keep you safe. And if safety is your big thing. Now, apart from this, one important addition is this new range of colors, which is quite nice to look at. It's got this fantastic finish. It's got that nice glossy look, pearlescent finish to it. Very impressive. I'm just not sure how many people will, well, of course, take to it as well. Simply because we see a lot of Kias running around in whites, blacks, and that burnt red shade. But nonetheless, handsome car on the outside. Let's take a quick look at what's on the inside, and of course, those ADAS features as well. So here's what the interior looks like on the new Seltos. Of course, a lot of upgrades involved over here as well. You can look at it. There's that new look on the dashboard. The upholstery has changed. There are various trim levels also in this, and of course, the GT line will be one of those more sportier looking one with all those sporty accents on the dashboard. Slight changes with the panels over here, and of course in the audio system as well. But largely everything stays more or less the same. Quite a nice cabin to be in, spacious, airy, and of course still feel just as luxurious as ever. Keep in mind, not a lot has changed. You get new charging points, you got more Type-C charging points both for the front occupants and the rear occupants as well. But apart from that, this still is a familiar space to be in, and of course, dimension, comfortable and luxurious as well. And here at the rear is the new, well, graphic element on the tail lamps. That's what's changed as well. As you can see, new graphic element on the tail light, and of course, light strip running across the tailgate. The rest, of course, is the same. This version is the 7DCT, the automatic, and it's got a fairly large boot area with a fairly low loading lip. So, well, ergonomically, aesthetically, this is a well-designed boot for you to put your stuff into, especially the heavy stuff. So, there you have it. This is the Kia Seltos, the new version, and we'll be driving very shortly and come back to you with a full-blown review of how the Seltos feels like.
with that, it's a wrap on this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. And you can follow our latest updates on Instagram. We'll see you next week. Until then, drive and ride safe.